Today, we will have a fun discussion about cooperative learning approach. This presentation will introduce the background of cooperative learning approach, present a comprehensive discussion of the approach, illustrate the methods and how to use the approach, discuss the significant roles of the teachers and students. Let's start our discussion by this guide question. What is cooperative learning approach? According to Roger Johnson and David Johnson, cooperative learning makes use of a classroom organization where students work in groups or teams to help each other learn. Cooperative learning requires the cooperation of students inside a group to complete a given task. Each student in the group is responsible for a part of the task, and the entire task will be successfully completed if all of the learners could finish their part of the task. This time, we will know who is the main proponent of this approach. Dr. Robert E. Slavin. He suggests that cooperative learning is a great tool for handicapped and disabled students. According to him, when disabled and handicapped students work in a mainstream and heterogeneous environment, they learn in a more productive and skillful manner. He also made a lot of effort in creating structured material that is helpful in building the principles of cooperative learning. The features of cooperative learning approach. Cooperative approach has two important components. First, the cooperative incentive structure. Every member of the group are interdependent for a reward. They work together for a common goal which ends to a reward that is equal to their success. The other one is the cooperative task structure. It is a situation where each member of the group are allowed, encouraged, or required to work together to finish a task where they coordinate their efforts to complete the assigned task. The cooperative learning approach has a characteristics where the learners are working together in a team to tackle and comprehend academic tasks. The reward systems are group-oriented, which means that the individual score will be determined by their effort as a group. The interaction within the group are controlled by the members themselves. Teams are composed of members of mixed abilities, high, average, and low achievers. Each individual learner is accountable for his or her learning. Although cooperative approach is a group-based method, each member are still required to learn the lessons with the help of their group discussion. The group reflects on and evaluates the group process they underwent. Let's see on how we can apply this approach in a classroom through these different methods of cooperative learning approach. First, the think, pair, share method. It is a collaborative learning strategy where the students will solve a problem by working together. This will require them to think and comprehend a given material on his own or study the material by himself. Share and discuss ideas that they have learned to their classmates or groupmates. The second method will be the jigsaw method. The jigsaw method will help in improving the reading comprehension of the learners because individually they will be assigned with reading materials in which they should comprehend properly. The jigsaw method is ideal and useful for knowledge areas where content is susceptible for being fragmented in different parts. In initiating this method, a student will be a member of two different groups, the home group and the expert group. In the home group, every students are assigned with different topic. Once a topic has been identified, students leave their home group and meet their corresponding expert groups. Expert groups discuss the material and brainstorm ways in which to present their understandings to the other members of their home groups. After that, they will return to their home group and teach their portion of the materials and also learn from the other members of their home group. In order to present and organize their ideas, prepare a summary chart or graphic organizer for each home group as a guide for organizing the expert's information report. The Jigsaw Method 2. It is a variation of Robert Slavin's 1980 Jigsaw Method. In this method, members of the home group are assigned to the same material but focus on the separate portions of the material. Each member must become an expert on his or her assigned portion and teach the other members of the home group. Unlike the first version, Jigsaw 2 doesn't require the students to move to another group. Let's go to the fourth method, the reverse jigsaw method. In this method, students in the expert groups teach the whole class rather than returning to their home groups to teach the content. This method is common in groups reporting where an expert group discusses the topic to the whole class. For example, the teacher will assign a topic for each group and they will have the responsibility to understand the topic properly in order to report and teach the assigned topic effectively to the whole class. Next is the reciprocal teaching method. It is a cooperative technique that allows students to use important metacognitive techniques such as clarifying, questioning, predicting, and summarizing. It embraces the idea that students can effectively learn from each other. This method refers to an instructional activity in which students become the teacher in small group reading sessions. Let's go to the last method, the STAD method or the STAD method. STAD method or Student Teams Achievement Divisions will require the class to divide in different groups and will be presented with a lesson from the instructor. After the presentation of the instructor, the students are subsequently tested. Although the tests are taken individually, their individual grades will still be based on the performance of the group. The STAD method has three main concepts that was enumerated by Slavin. These concepts are the team reward, individual accountability, and for equal opportunities for success. Certificates or rewards are given if the STAD group achieves higher than the predetermined level. In this way, a spirit of positive competition is reinforced and all or none of the groups would be rewarded based on how they score. In terms of individual accountability, the individual learning of each of the group members determines the success of the term.
And now, we go to the roles of teachers in cooperative approach. The role of teacher in a classroom where cooperative approach is applied undergoes some changes since the classroom moves from teacher-centered to student-centered. It means the teacher will transfer his or her responsibility for learning to the students. The teacher's task during cooperative learning involves the stimulation of constructive interactions between learners. In order to achieve this, the teacher must first group the students. In grouping students, safety is the teacher's number one priority. They must avoid bullying situations, therefore consider grouping students for harmonious and safe environment. Next, the teacher should organize students' interactions in the context of academic tasks. Then, the teacher will prepare the learners for collaborative work with others. And lastly, the teacher must encourage the students to contribute and share their ideas. If all these steps will follow, then it would likely to lead to the success of learning. Now, let's move on to the roles of learners in cooperative approach. Learners are assigned with different roles within a group. In cooperative learning approach, there are different kinds of possible discussion roles. These roles are very important in the discussion process within the group. Learners will act as a facilitator. Its role is to keep the discussion moving by asking the other group members some questions that could facilitate the learning and make the ideas in the group running. Learners will also act as a timekeeper. This role is very important in keeping the team or the group right on track, and it gets through a reasonable amount of material in the given time period. Students will also act as a summarizer. Students will provide summary after the presented topics. Students will also act as a reflector. Students will listen to the presentation and explain the idea back to the group through his or her own words. Students will also act as an elaborator. Students see connections between the current discussion and past topics. Now, let's move on to the impressions to the approach. In teaching strategies, cooperative learning approach is one of the most used approach in presenting a lesson or topics. It enhances the mental capacity of the learners through interactive activities within the group. The learners' reading comprehension, interactive social skills, and sense of responsibility will improve and enhance through cooperative learning approach. As a student, Cooperative learning approach is a very helpful strategy in understanding the material. It gives ease to every student because they will not have a huge task of understanding of the whole materials all by themselves, but rather they will only focus on a portion of the material and the rest will be presented by the other students. This kind of approach should be added to the different teaching strategies for the class because learners need an interdependent kind of learning too, which could enhance their social and communication skills. It will also add color, fun, and engaging activities while learning the materials, which is ideal for any learners.